As I've always said, an all-inclusive trip has the potential to be your best vacation ever, thanks to the stress-free nature of an all-inclusive vacation, right? Hi everyone, Vanessa here, and welcome back to Passport Pages. And today I'm going to show you the 7 ways that you can absolutely ruin any all-inclusive vacation, which I've had to learn the hard way, so you guys will be able to avoid them in your future vacations. So keep watching so you know what not to do the next time you try an all-inclusive stay. Forget to budget for extra fees. So this is very tricky because on the surface, unlike regular resorts, all-inclusives should include everything, right? Well, be very careful of this because sometimes at the end of your all-inclusive vacation, you just might be surprised at checkout when you're picking up a bill for extras. Some examples of extra fees that might not be covered in the general cost of your stay include top-shelf liquor with drinks like whiskey and champagne, that's very common, as well as dinner upgrades. Some sit-down restaurants and even menu items might be extra. So if you're unsure, we ask. It might feel awkward, but better than being surprised with a big bill at checkout. Another tricky thing is scuba lessons. 9 times out of 10, even if lessons are labeled as inclusive, it's usually just the introductory course in the pool, and then anything beyond that is quite a bit extra. So again, just double check these specifics either before you arrive to the resort or once you're there before you purchase these splurges, because that's definitely a way to ruin your relaxation. Get caught in the timeshare trap. I've been mentioning this recently in my videos because it's a big one to be wary of, but some all-inclusives really get you with these presentations and usually rope you in with the promise that if you just sit and watch their presentation, you'll get a lot of extras and non-included activities, like dinner for 2 on the beach, things like that. And after you sit and listen, they'll announce, well, you have to go to a second presentation where you can sign up for the dinner or whatever it might be, and at this point you've wasted most of a day. So my advice, unless you're seriously interested in investing in a timeshare, skip the pitch, otherwise you'll waste way too much of the precious little time you have of your vacation. Adults only versus family resorts. This is a basic one that far too many people overlook. If you're looking for a special romantic couples vacation, check if the resort is family friendly, and if so, I'd honestly avoid it if I were you. Many couples book family-friendly resorts because they're usually more affordable, and then they end up miserable because the atmosphere isn't what they'd like, and vice versa. If you're a family with young children, you won't want to be booking an all-inclusive that caters to loved-up couples, which will be just awkward with kids. So really pay attention to what crowd your resort caters to. That's why I really go into that in my videos, because it really does make a big difference to find the right all-inclusive match for what you're looking for. By doing that right off the bat, you'll start out on the right foot. Expect luxury for a budget price. I have to laugh because this seems so basic, but my viewers make this mistake a lot. Don't expect the Ritz when you're paying Holiday Inn prices. And this might be some of the most important advice I can give you guys. Don't choose your all-inclusive based on an arbitrary price. Instead of just going by a budget in your head, do some research to find out what the type of vacation you're expecting actually costs. I get people so shocked that all-inclusives that charge $150 a night aren't exactly luxe. But remember, these are not regular resorts. They're all-inclusives, which means food, drink, activities are all included. And at minimum for 2 people, that's an extra $100 a day. So really the room is costing only $50 a day. So what would you expect for a $50 a day hotel? See what I mean? So a good rule of thumb is to take at least $100 off the rate, and that's what the room cost is. And you can better gauge what type of experience you'll have at that specific all-inclusive and if you'll be happy with it. And while yes, there are definitely some all-inclusives that provide great value, the vast majority of the time, you get what you pay for. So just be realistic when researching all-inclusives. Hog this staff. So it's interesting. I've seen guests who arrive at an all-inclusive and all of a sudden they're acting like royalty and demanding so much of the staff, especially butlers for butler-level rooms, and it causes a lot of problems. For one thing, fellow guests will start to resent it and give looks, maybe even comments. For another, the staff themselves do not appreciate being treated like servants, rightfully so, especially when they have many other guests to check on and help. And you just might see the quality of service go down if you're acting like a diva. So this might seem like a silly one, but I've seen it happen, so just make sure you're being respectful of the time of the staff and your fellow guests, which will make for a much more pleasant stay. Overindulge on the all-inclusives. As I showed in great detail in my last video about the best all-inclusive food, it's a huge misconception that the quality of food and drinks at all-inclusives is mediocre, just because it's built into the cost of your stay. Even the alcohol selection and quality at many all-inclusive resorts has greatly improved in recent years, and because of that, guests tend to overindulge in both food and drink, especially at all-inclusives, far more than regular resorts, because everything is bottomless. So I'm not lecturing, just simply advising that you don't want to eat so much that all you want to do is sleep, or suffer a bunch of hangovers so your stay is just a blur. And you'd be surprised how easy it is to do once you arrive at an all-inclusive. So just try to enjoy the included food and drink as much as possible without going overboard. Don't forget to tip. This has always been a big talking point on my channel, as I know a lot of all-inclusive staff watch Passport pages, but unless you're staying at an all-inclusive where tipping is forbidden, like Sandals, although butlers must be tipped as well, but generally you need to be tipping at most all-inclusives, both for the staff and your sake as well, which I'll explain. Tipping in most of these all-inclusives, especially generous tipping, means the difference between long waits for drinks at the pool and quick service as soon as you're spotted. We're big tippers and we're always treated especially well. So I advise to bring lots of small bills, and even in the resorts that include tip, unless it's strictly forbidden of course, it helps you get better service and rewards the staff for their hard work as well. So while yes, in most cases tipping at all-inclusive resorts is not required, if you don't, you'll very likely get mediocre service. And if you don't believe me, just try it. So there you have the 7 ways to ruin your all-inclusive stay that quite frankly people either don't want to talk about or they seem so obvious that people ignore them and then regret it later. So I hope all our mistakes will help my viewers have better all-inclusive stays. And I'd really appreciate you showing your support for my channel, especially during these times, by hitting the subscribe button if you haven't yet. This is Vanessa for Passport Pages. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye everyone!